I will tell you how much the best games earned in February 2023 on Steam. If the game you were waiting for did not make it to the top, it means that there were fewer reviews left for it than for these games. Scars Above uses a sci-fi setting. The story follows the adventures of Kate. This is the name of a scientist and astronaut who, together with the team, ended up on an exoplanet inhabited by monsters due to an artifact called a metahedron that suddenly appeared in Earth's orbit. As a result, astronauts are transported outside the solar system to where a mysterious advanced civilization used to live. The protagonist must first help her comrades and then find a way to return home. The heroine is not a soldier, but at the same time she is able to fend for herself. The girl will visit several biomes. There are snow-covered plains, high-tech alien laboratories, a network of underground caves. Terrain types differ not only in scenery, but also in opponents, trials, climatic conditions, and riddles. This is an adventure action game made on the Unreal Engine 4. SA uses a third-person view. In the game, you must not only shoot the local aggressive fauna, but also explore the locations. A woman is able to scan the environment and get whole data. This knowledge helps to fight opponents more effectively, and it also expands the possibilities for crafting. Different opponents need their own approach. For example, bullet-resistant creatures can be lured into the water and hit with electricity. Other monsters may show vulnerability to fire, and so on. In the video game, you can create new weapons and produce useful things on a 3D printer. There is also a bleed. The heroine is able to acquire skills related to engineering and xenobiology. The game cost $39.99 and earned $77,000. Chef Life. A restaurant simulator is a fun and realistic third-person cooking simulation. Players will take on the management of a popular restaurant that is vying for coveted Michelin stars, a prestigious guidebook whose mark can elevate the establishment. The job of a chef is hard work, and gamers will need to oversee a variety of tasks, from hiring staff, purchasing ingredients and compiling menus, to decorating the interior, communicating with customers, and financial matters. But of course, the main process will be cooking, and not simple, but exclusively haute cuisine. The game character in the game can be customized by specifying gender, body structure, hair color, and a number of other parameters. At the beginning of the game, a tutorial was implemented, which will be conducted by Assistant Kasim, who will introduce you to the controls and basic mechanics. Cooking is divided into several stages. Initially, you need to decide on the products and then go with them to the right work surfaces, where they can be cut, peeled, or otherwise processed. It is also important to send the ingredients to the pot in the correct order, and remember to use the right amount of salt and spices. Before serving, it is possible to present the dish on a plate, giving it your own individual style. The game costs $29.99. The Light Brigade is an entertaining roguelike game set in a broken world. The once majestic cities were turned into ruins, and the sun practically ceased to give people warmth. And everything points to the fact that soon humanity will disappear once and for all. To prevent this from happening, you need to fight the most dangerous monsters that await you on the tops of high mountains, in dense forests, and in cemeteries that hide a lot of mysteries. Fight, collect useful fighters, discover new abilities, and reveal secrets, gradually approaching your main goal. The future of the whole world depends on you, so be careful and turn your hero into the strongest person on the planet. There is also a shop in the game where you can buy potions, weapons, and spells. A variety of enemies will act against you, including powerful bosses. Pleasant three-dimensional graphics, a unique combat system, and a great atmosphere. Together, all this creates a game that will delight even the most sophisticated gamers. Be sure that unforgettable adventures are waiting for you ahead, filled with battles, intrigues, and unexpected discoveries. The game costs $24.99. Phantom Brigade is a science fiction turn-based strategy game. The action takes place in a country that has become the victim of a large-scale invasion by a foreign power. The enemy forces defeated the army and began the occupation. You will have to play the role of a resistance commander trying to win back his homeland from the invaders. The player spends most of his time commanding small mech units and completing dangerous missions in a turn-based system. Each of the combat vehicles can be heavily modified, ranging from weapons, armor, and ending with mechanical parts and camouflage models. All these aspects are important for combat effectiveness. However, even the most powerful mech is completely useless without a remote control. Therefore, Protecting subordinates from injury plays a key role. The same rule applies to enemy units. Making the enemy leave the cockpit and run is a great way to capture his mech and thereby strengthen your own forces. The campaign is very dynamic, and players on the strategy map can decide for themselves which targets and territories to attack. The resources obtained in this way and the losses suffered by the enemy influence the further development of the conflict. The authors took care of the variety of tasks. Among other things, you will need to sabotage enemy facilities with the best equipment, infiltrate other people's bases and attack. In most skirmishes, the player's strength is weaker and less numerous, so mission objectives must be completed quickly to complete the attack before enemy reinforcements arrive. The game costs $29.99 and has earned $330K. Aces and Adventures is a card battle game based on the rules of poker. The setting is inspired by Norse mythology. It is necessary to save the Tree of Life from the forces of evil. 3 tables with stones in the center are available. With their help, you can travel between worlds. Making a jump through the portal, you need to find Cardrasil, an ancient tree. Leaves fall from it, which will be needed in the adventure. For example, they increase strength or defense. Collecting your unique deck, you need to engage in battle with a variety of opponents. The battles in the game are fast and dynamic. Sessions take 10 to 20 minutes. There are cards with different power-ups and abilities. At the beginning of the story, you can choose one of 5 unique characters. Each has its own set of abilities and initial cards in the deck. From the choice of a hero, the tactics and style of combat change. By defeating enemies, experience is gained, which is spent on pumping. The maximum level is 30. Gradually, new equipment and cards are unlocked. The campaign includes 13 well-developed tasks. There are about 50 difficulty levels with individual settings for each player. With the help of mana, you can activate special abilities. Fights are built on the principle of poker. If you lose, you can change your hand to get more effective and useful cards. The gameplay of Lumencraft is a mixture of tower defense and top-down shooter. The environment is completely destroyed by exploding projectiles or unusual abilities. Light and shadow play a major role in the passage. The user finds himself in a hostile environment. The extraction of resources will help to establish defensive structures, expand territories, and design your own base. Humanity lives in an apocalyptic world that is gradually being destroyed by darkness. The only chance for salvation is to find a gap by digging deep and long tunnels. Actions take place in the future, 2221. 2 centuries ago, the surface of the Earth has already become unsuitable for normal existence. Survivors fight by any means without light and electricity. Recently, the search team reached the mineral, Lumen. The crystal has a high energy power that can be the last salvation for people. The gamer goes underground with brave miners, where natural resources are stored. However, the previous group did not make it out of the dungeon alive. Aggressive creatures live below, ready to kill any guest. The player leads a squad of workers mining the crystal and digging a tunnel. Enemies attack from all sides and use different tactical abilities. Battle towers serve as the only defense that stops the flow of rivals. The game costs $19.99 and earned $230K. The visual novel Selene Apoptosis will introduce you to a charming stranger who finds herself on the threshold of the house of the main character, Hope. You need to decide whether to let her in or not. The graphic side is made in anime style. A real erotic adventure opens before the players, in which it is necessary to decide the fate of everyone who is nearby. In this chilling journey, you have to fight for everyone you love. Selene Apoptosis is full of dark romance, mystical secrets, violence, and sex scenes. The stranger is a cat-like girl. It can be stroked, played with, touched, etc. The work is inspired by the novels of Stephen King. The plot is a mystical thriller full of drama, romance, eroticism, and violence. It will take 2-3 hours of real time to complete the game. Throughout the game, you have to make decisions that affect the development of the storyline. Depending on the actions, you can see 5 different endings to such an extraordinary story. There are both good and bad endings. By carefully examining locations or by selecting certain dialogue lines, it allows you to open new pages of the magazine with secrets. It contains some interesting facts about the world, as well as a huge amount of fan service that will delight fans of the genre. Players in Returnal have to go to an alien planet called Atropos. Selena's spaceship Vassos, who works for the megacorporation Astra, is forced to land on an unfamiliar surface due to critical problems that have arisen due to the accident. Gamers will have to go exploring locations in search of help on behalf of a young explorer who is facing terrible trials. In the process of inspecting the planet in the Returnal, the heroine finds her own corpse and realizes that she is in a temporary trap. Gameplay mechanics are made in the form of an action shooter from a third person, where there are elements of roguelike. When the character dies, the result will be rolled back. Players have to face random level generation every time, where locations, interactive objects, and opponents will change. The storyline tells about a girl who wants to get out of the trap. Celine will search for the source of the White Shadow while exploring Atropos and fighting alien creatures. Monsters will show aggression towards the protagonist, hunting for her. You will have to use firearms to eliminate dangers. The levels will have a limited supply of ammunition and weapons. Also, items of equipment and weapons will randomly appear on the map. Depending on the dropped loot, players will be able to build their own tactics. It is necessary to avoid deaths in order to break out of the time loop. When the heroine dies, the universe will be completely rebuilt and change the complexity. In the process of passing, users will find the memories of a space traveler. It will come out to find out about the relationship with her mother Thea and the paradoxical events due to which the girl ended up in a temporary anomaly. The game costs $59.99 and earned $2, 3 million. Atomic Heart is an action-adventure action game set in a parallel world where the Soviet Union never ceased to exist. Leading scientists have made strong technological progress, which over time has allowed the creation of intelligent robots with deep artificial intelligence. But one day, these creatures began to get out of control, attacking all the personnel at the 3826 facility. You take control of a specialized undercover KGB intelligence agent under the personal call sign P3. Get into dangerous enemy territory and figure out what really happened to mechanized creatures. The game has a vast world, containing a large number of different biomes. You will see both the dark corridors of the factory itself, picturesque forests, and the server pole. Each location is made in great detail and evokes a bygone era. But in Atomic Heart, an important part is the passage of a variety of mini-puzzles and skirmishes using authentic weapons. Fight enemies through close combat, where countless types of weapons are available. All items must be constructed using the handicraft assembly method, that is, literally from improvised means located on the ground. In addition, the game is saturated with the RPG system, so there is variability in the passage of certain levels. To get to the desired location, you can go through the tunnels, or use engineering skills and several other options. Also, the crafting system allows you to create useful gadgets and first aid kits that will help out in difficult moments. The game costs $59.99 and has earned $13 million. Hogwarts Legacy is a role-playing game based on the famous Harry Potter books. The events of Hogwarts Legacy developed long before the birth of the protagonist of books and films. The story begins in the 19th century, namely in the 1800s. The game takes place in the same universe and the same school, so fans of the original saga will find plenty of references and meet some familiar characters. The gameplay is inspired by the Persona series. During the day, the hero can attend classes, explore a huge school of magicians, communicate with characters, unravel the secrets of the estate, and fight fantastic creatures. The local open world is a huge educational institution that keeps a lot of secrets, hidden passages, enclosed spaces, etc. In Hogwarts Legacy, you can leave the building and explore locations nearby. Before starting the game, you have to create your own character. Enrolling in a magical school, it turns out that the protagonist is able to curb ancient magic. The gameplay is non-linear. In the process of passing, you have to decide whether you will reveal your secret or keep your abilities a secret, learning dark spells. However, it should be remembered that depending on your decisions, the plot changes, affecting the fate of many characters. The game costs $59.99 and has earned $140 million. Thanks to Stepan for supporting this release. This is such a rich and interesting top. Write in the comments which game you liked more.